to share here would also be useful even if your industry or your organization does not fall under the hospitality industry. Today we're going to be dealing with a topic which is tips for effective hotel housekeeping. Now I know that every organization, every industry uses housekeeping. Even when you don't use the term housekeeping, you might use cleaning department, you might use cleaners, you might use maintenance department. I don't know whatever terms you use. For the sake of hospitality, it's called the housekeeping department. The housekeeping department is very, very important as is other or as are other organizations in a hotel because cleanliness is very key to the maintenance of any hotel and to the satisfaction of any guests. So the first point here is when cleaning, follow a cleaning checklist. If you're a housekeeping personnel or a housekeeping staff, you should see your job as very, very important because your inability to do your job right can make the hotel lose a guest or can make a guest or our staff to fall ill. Yes, so that's how important your job is. So the first point here is follow a cleaning checklist. Don't just clean randomly. When you come into a room, there should be a checklist to clean your rooms, your bar, your restaurant, your halls, your outdoor areas, your indoor areas. There should be a checklist that you follow for every corner or every area that you clean. Don't just clean randomly. Clean with a checklist, basically. Follow it through so that you ensure that you don't miss out any points or you don't miss out any areas or you don't miss out anywhere, because a dirty area can easily turn off a guest, like I said earlier, and make you lose that guest. The second point is have priority on high touch areas. There are areas that are high touch areas, like you see the bulb, the light switch, that's a high touch area. You see the bathroom fixtures, when you turn on the tap, you turn off the tap, that's a high touch area. You see the remote control that maybe like 100 people touch, that's a high touch area. So while you're cleaning, pay attention, prioritize high touch areas and ensure they are properly and effectively clean. Especially post-COVID. If you notice post-COVID, during COVID, we were really careful with what we touch, what we don't touch, but we knew that you could touch something that somebody that had COVID had touched and you could get infected, right? But you see, post-COVID, we're still relaxing a little, but prioritize these areas. They're very key. Places you know that people will easily touch, right? At the edges of the bed. There's part of my office where I always make sure they clean because naturally, anyone that walks in, that's the first place they want to put their hands on. The doorknobs, prioritize that as well. The third point is eliminate odors, don't cover odors. What happens most times is you come into a place and the place is smelling. And naturally, what you're supposed to, somebody doesn't bring an air freshener, let me spray, let me make this place appear clean. No. Find out what the issue is. Find out what is causing that stench, that smell, that odor, and eliminate it instead of covering it. The natural thing we like to do is you come into a place, you're not struggling between the air freshener and the bad smell. No. Eliminate it by finding out what the cause of that odor is. You come into a room you're trying to clean, if it's a hotel or a space that has rocks, for instance, and maybe water has poured on the rock, and you come in and you're like, this place is smelling, and you're like, oh, let me go quickly use an air freshener, and you freshen it up. Over time, the smell of that air freshener is going to fade away, and that smell will still come back. Find out if it's a dirty rock, find out what it is that caused that smell, and eliminate it instead of masking it. The next point is clean from top to bottom, not from bottom to top. Clean from top to bottom. The reason for this is so you don't spread dirt where you have already cleaned. So your cleaning is down, things down, up to down, not down to up. So you don't scatter dust or scatter dirt on things that you've already cleaned. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to be very brief and very fast. But if you want a more concise training, you have to contact us because there's a lot. We have over 50 points for housekeepers. But I think for the sake of this video, we're only going to mention about 10, as it is with other departments basically. Then use proper equipment and supplies. Some of us just patch up our cleaning. Some of us don't even want to spend money on the napkins we use, on the mops we use, on the chemicals we use, on the detergents we use. You just put a little bit of detergent in water, clean it. As long as the place appears neat, it's fine. No, there are kinds of chemicals you should use, there are kinds of detergents you should use, there are kinds of cloth that you should use for different areas, and there are kinds of mops as well that you should use for different areas. So invest in proper equipment and supply. The next point for housekeepers is respect guest privacy. Some of us don't respect guest privacy. You just assume that two things. Number one, before you come into a room to clean, you must knock. And let's assume there's a guest in there, you must respect their privacy. If they're okay with you cleaning the room with them being in there, please respect their privacy. That's not the time to eavesdrop on their conversations. Okay, let's even assume the guest is not in the room. That's not the time to search through their stuff. That's not the time to lift somebody's underwear and say, I see as this underwear dirty. That's not the time to respect people's stuff and respect people's privacy. I'm saying this because I've been in this industry for over 8 years and I know the things that are obtainable there. Respect people's stuff and respect people's privacy. The next point here is inspect your work. When you're done cleaning, inspect your work with your checklist to be sure that you've cleaned everywhere that you ought to clean. Don't just assume, you look at the room and you say, this room is clean, it's all tidy. No, inspect your work. Look back, look under the bed, check behind the doors, inspect your work using the checklist that I mentioned earlier as the number one point here, so that you're sure that you did the job right. The next point is manage your time wisely. So you find out that somebody's complaining, oh, I have so many rooms to clean per day. When you didn't manage your time wisely, you're in room 1 and you're spending like 1 hour to clean room 1 and you have just 3 hours to clean from room 1 to room 10. How exactly do you do it? So manage your time wisely. As much as you're trying to follow a checklist, as much as you're trying to clean properly, you should also manage your time wisely, basically. The next point is encourage communication. Encourage communication. If there's any because housekeeping staff are usually the first people to find out if there's any damage or spoilage or wreckage in any room, right? So whatever it is that you find out when you go to clean out a room or tidy up a room, that's the time to talk about it. That's not the time to keep quiet about it. And then when it comes up, you now mention that, I even saw that room. Oh, I knew when that tap spoiled, but I didn't want to talk. No, ma, no, sir. That's the time to talk. Document it immediately and talk immediately. The communication I'm talking about is not between you and the guest. You don't have any business with the guest. Your business is to speak to management, speak to your manager, speak to your supervisor about whatever damage or whatever thing it is that you saw. So please, communication is key. Then the next point is be observant, which also has to do with communication. When you're being observant, you're observing spoilages, wreckages, that's basically what you're observing. Is there even a leakage? Yes, it's housekeeping that should observe if there's a leakage, apart from the guest, because you're the second person apart from a guest that has access to a guest room. So be observant with such thing and communicate such effectively. The next and the final point I'm going to mention is that while working, deliver with a smile. I know that your job can be stressful. I know that it can be hectic. I mean, I have 10 rooms to clean. I have 5. I have 20. Yes, some people even have as much as 20, depending on the size of the room. But try to deliver with a smile. Do your job with joy. Part of hospitality is we smile, whether it's good or no good. So it's important to deliver your job with a smile. That's not the time to start complaining to the guest. If it's a guest that is in the room that your job is very hectic, life has been difficult to you, life has been difficult to everybody, trust me, but deliver your job with a smile. I hope these few points of mine will be helpful to any housekeeping staff. Like I said earlier in this video, remember that the housekeeping staff are the reason why a guest would easily return or not return. Because imagine a hotel that has been properly built, properly maintained, and not properly cleaned. Things will spoil, basically. So please, housekeeping staff, I started to make your video, the second department, because you're very, very key for guest satisfaction. You're very, very key for guest return as well. So please see your job as important as your job is. And I hope these points would go a long way in ensuring that every housekeeping personnel does their job as effectively and as efficiently as they ought to do it. See you next time with more videos. Bye.